Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Ryan Kostroski Show. It's time to talk about stand-up comedians. So I told you all when we got this thing started, part of the goal was just to have some fun. I watch a ton of stand-up. First off, I like to laugh. I think most people enjoy laughing, and to me, stand-up comedy is better than pretty much any other form of humor when it comes to finding a good laugh. Yes, good comedic movie will always get you a good chuckle, but I always have loved watching stand-up comedy. I just want to run through a few of my favorites, maybe some guys that not everybody's heard of. No reason to bring up Dave Chappelle. I think we all know who that is. I would have said Louis C.K. a while back, but apparently most people aren't fans of guys who force girls to watch them jerk off. So we'll stay away from Louis C.K. for the time being. But let's talk about some other guys that not everybody knows about, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas of guys that you can give a look to, and hope they'll make you laugh. All right. So number one for me, Anthony Jeselnik. So if you guys don't know much about Anthony Jeselnik, he had a show on Comedy Central a couple years back. It was called the Jeselnik Offensive. The show was great. It only lasted 2 seasons. He's a little bit controversial for a cable network like Comedy Central. It's not that he's not a big dirty language guy. You're not going to hear a whole bunch of swear words from him, but he is, I guess, offensive is the best word for him. It's not just a clever play on words of why they rolled with the whole offensive term. He likes to make jokes about the worst things, but he does it in a dry. His delivery is off the hook. I saw him a couple of years ago when he came to Green Bay. He was fantastic. We got real lucky. We got second row tickets. I mean, you could almost touch him from where we were sitting, so that was pretty badass. But he is one of my personal favorites. He's not for the easily offended. I mean, his last stand-up special, I believe it was called Thoughts and Prayers. So I'll let you all kind of guess on that one if you want to. But for me, he is a flat-out comedic genius. It takes a lot of talent to deliver what he says the way that he says it and not piss more people off than he currently pisses off. So I love his cockiness. He has a very dry cockiness to him. He's one of my favorites without question. So if you haven't seen him yet, give him a look. You can find the show, The Jeselnik Offensive, on the Comedy Central app. We just got that when we got our new TV a couple months ago. I hadn't been on there before, but now I find myself watching the roast over and over again and a few other things on Comedy Central since I have such easy access to it now. So if you don't know Anthony Jeselnik and you're not easily offended, for me, he's about as good as they come. So next up, I want to talk about a guy named Chad Daniels. I saw this guy in Appleton, which is a suburb of Green Bay. Now it's about a half hour south, so I don't know if we'll call it a suburb. I want to say that was last winter. The wife and I headed down there. There's a comedy club called Skyline Comedy Cafe down in Appleton. It's a smaller venue. I think you can get maybe 100 people in there at most. And I've been a fan of this guy ever since he popped up. I want to say it was on the Jeselnik Pandora station that I listened to a lot of stand up on. I think he's brilliant. He does not get the attention of a Dave Chappelle or a Bill Burr or anybody like that. But personally, I think he's just as funny as those other guys. He appeals to somebody in my age bracket a lot. So oh good lord, I'm in my upper 30s. I'll be 38 this summer. 2 kids. If you have kids, he's going to be a little bit better for you. A big part of that is that's what he talks about. He has a little 5 minute tidbit that I could listen to over and over. It's talking about the first time he caught his kids touching their private parts, and it's not dirty or gross or creepy. It's the way he makes it funny is pure brilliance to me from a comedic standpoint. So the name is Chad Daniels. I highly recommend giving him a look. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a clip from each of these guys down in the description section of this video. Just an easy way to check them out, to give them a look and then figure out if you like them and roll into there. But for me, I'm always looking for good stand-up comedy. So if you have anybody that I didn't bring up and you feel like maybe it's somebody I haven't heard about, feel free to toss that bad boy in the comment section because I'm always looking for good new stand-ups. All right, next up, there is a gentleman. You can also find his specials on Netflix. It's this guy right here, Tom Segura. So one of the things that works for him is he's a little chubby. So like he can pull off fat jokes, but he's not so fat that like that's the only thing that he can do. So he's also a Hispanic guy who looks white. So just a variety of angles and ways that he can take the comedic role. He's very, very good. I think he's got at least 2 stand-ups on Netflix right now. So you feel free to go check those out. But the name is Tom Segura. Big fan. I think most people would like him. I don't think there's a lot of, what's the best way to put this? I don't think he's the kind of person that would rub too many people the wrong way, but he's also creative and out there enough that he's not like boring and real family oriented or anything like that. But I am a Tom Segura fan, so give him a little look see. Next up, John Mulaney. So his name's a little bit more popular. If you look through it, kind of what he's done, he used to write for SNL. He actually had his own show. I can't remember which network station it was on. Only lasted for maybe a season, and retried it. And my wife and I both love this guy, but the show was terrible. And that often will happen when you try to get a stand-up comedian to do acting jobs or to put him on a show. Sometimes it works and you get Seinfeld. Other times it doesn't work and you get John Mulaney's show. And it was terrible. It was just bad all the way around. So this guy is incredible. He's got a couple of stand-ups out on Netflix right now. One of them is a Netflix actual sponsored event. It's called The Comeback Kid. It's his most recent one. Awesome. Also, New in Town is one of his. I want to say it's from 2013. Also phenomenal. Both of them are worthy of a watch. There are a couple jokes in The Comeback Kid. To this point, we will still tell, and it's probably been a year or two since we watched them. And I'll leave you with the quote: "One black coffee." If you get around to watching The Comeback Kid, and especially if you have little kids, you will be tempted to drive through McDonald's and order one black coffee. That's all I got to tell you. All right, last up, I want to give a quick shout out to a guy who's a personal fave of mine. Unfortunately, Greg Giraldo is no longer with us. He died in 2010. He's best known for one, the Comedy Central roast, and two, he spent a lot of time on Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn. I know him mostly from the Comedy Central roast. I'm a big fan of the Comedy Central roast, as I already mentioned. Ever since we got the Comedy Central app, I've probably rewatched the majority of them. Just throw them on in the background when I'm doing my daily writing. And this guy's incredible. To me, he's about as talented of any comedian that there is out there. Kind of unfortunate, like a lot of comedians, he had a lot of problems. And as Patton Oswalt once jokes, he goes, "The litmus test for a bad parenting is the stripper." He goes, "But I beg to differ. The stand-up comedian is way worse." And there is some truth behind that. Comedians are generally pretty tortured souls. It's kind of why they dedicate their lives to making people laugh, is because they tend to be a little bit tortured inside. And this dude is no different than any of those other guys in that aspect. That being said, hilarious. I think this guy is incredibly hilarious. You don't have a ton of stuff you can go look him up on. He doesn't have a ton of stand-ups out there like some other guys. He does have some though, so check him out on YouTube. Go back and watch those rows. For me, great comedian, and he's especially good when you catch him on those Comedy Central rows. So just thought I'd talk that over for a little bit today. I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy, so if y'all got anybody that you want to bring up, throw it down in the comments section, along with giving the video a thumbs up and sub to this channel if you're brand new to it. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Have a great day, and see you soon.